It takes me long to do them anyways.
No, you're very good at them, honey.
Mom, it takes me a while.
The first time I heard this story, it occurred to me, if you can imagine, that everything about her, her family, her brother, her sister, her father, mother, school, everything about her in her life was because a flight attendant accidentally switched her sweater. Kel, do you have the passports?
Yeah, they're in my purse.
Yeah, Mary the bird.
Okay.
Come on.
Yep.
There we go. Thank you. Oh, that's so heavy. Ugh.
The part that I remember was getting hot on the airplane, and the flight attendant helped us take our sweaters off. And then before we landed, she woke us up and helped us put our sweaters on. But she put our sweaters on wrong. And that's how we ended up going to different families. When I saw a picture of myself in that sweater, it was ridiculously small.
You basically get a phone call that says, okay, your child's going to be on the plane by Thursday. So you know it's time to go into labor, and you go get your baby.
When I got off the airplane, we had to walk down these steps onto the tarmac. And I remember coming up to a group of people that I didn't know, or being led to them, basically.
Gee, how do I introduce her? I'm her American mother.
Mother,
I'm her
period.
mother. Yeah, right. I guess they'd know, right?
Korea in the Civil War lost 3 million people. They were sending hundreds of thousands of children, orphans, out of the country. So you can see that that was a reflection of how the country was traumatized. And so my wife's story is essentially a punctuation on a national trauma. It's a national wound.
And what we were really looking for were the Amerasian children, the children of the American servicemen's people. But it changes when you get the picture that they send you. Would you take these children? It's just your children immediately.
This is the first letter I've received from my mother in 36 years. I'm ashamed and humbled to say to you, and I say, my daughter, Myangi, Anna's word, Korean family never forget, never abandon you.
I had asked my mother-in-law facts about Kelly's adoption, and she gave me the name of Korean Social Services. In the middle of the night, I couldn't sleep, and within a half hour, I had Korean Social Services on the phone. Oh, there was a woman sitting there with my wife's file in her hand. So I wrote a letter with my wife's permission and my wife's family's permission to straighten out the fact that she didn't end up in Minneapolis, she ended up in Rochester.
We were very surprised and shed tears of joy after heard your news. For a long time, we tried go look for you, but it was not easy. I look forward to seeing these people that are my family. I'm hoping that when I meet them, that something will click in from before and I'll somehow feel like I know them.
Holly and I met at the Adoption Symposium, which was a group of professionals from our community. The perception or the fantasy that when I find my birth parents, when I do this journey, that I will become whole, that I will become happy, and this internal tension that I'm experiencing will resolve. It really is not, for the most part, true.
One of the things that we deal with frequently is children who were adopted past the age of infancy. As even if you're adopted as a newborn infant, you come to the cognitive understanding around 5 or 6 that there's a front story before the I joined my family through adoption story, and that can be complex.
I wonder from time to time if I'm doing the right thing too. But what if we don't like each other? You know, now what? We have been dying to see you. I want to talk to you. Everything but with overflowing joy. I have only tears. Myangi, I send a letter with Korean families' pictures. There are father and me, 3 sisters and 2 brothers. All family in Korea want to convey a mind which is missing you. My daughter Myangi, I always care about you and waiting for your letter every day I pray. To Myangi from Mother. Okay, come on.
She doesn't understand that her story is a big deal. She never understood that. She lived it, so she didn't think it was that big a deal. I mean, how many of us have starved? I mean, how many of us had to leave our whole families behind? And the analogy, if you think of Odysseus leaving his family for, 20 years, 2 decades to go off on this odyssey, and he comes back to his family, well, just imagine it isn't the father, but it's the 4-year-old girl that goes. And here we are, 36 years later, she's coming back home.